Alright, it's your boy Fred again. What we gotta learn today? We're about to do more fun math. We gotta learn about conditional probability. What is conditional probability? Conditional probability is based on an initial condition. We're able to find the probability of an event happening. So what do we have here that lets us know it's a set condition? So let's read this real quick. I'm going to underline some keywords that are really important. I'm going to underline the red, okay? So the first thing we got, the probability that it is Friday and that a school is absent is 0.03. Since there are 5 school days in a week, the probability that it is Friday is also 0.2. What is the probability that a student is absent, given that today is Friday? So, based on one condition, I want to be able to find the probability of two things happening. So, probability that a student is absent is my first condition, given that it's also going to be Friday. So, let's look at this together. So, like I said, the key word that we got is we got two events happening, Friday and a student is absent. So, that's our key thing that we know. We got two things happening at one time and it gives us a probability. Another thing we can look at also is we're looking at the probability that it's Friday again, right? So, what's the formula for conditional probability? P of A and P of B over P of A, right? So, P of A and B over P of A. So, the probability of A and B together over the probability of just the first event. So, just like in the alphabet, A is always first and then B is always second. In the first sentence, what is my first event? Probability that it's Friday and that the student is absent. So what do you think is my first event? Probability that Friday, right? So let's circle that. Let's go ahead and do this with a different color, which is purple. So we're going to do A first for Friday, and absent is going to be my B, right? Since there are 5 school days in a week, the probability that it's Friday is 0.2. So Friday would be my what event? My A event again. So let's plug in the formula. So which one gives me the probability of the first event and the second event at the same time? That would be right here, 0.03. What's my probability of just the first event? Which would just be Friday, which would be 0.2. Now, to find the probability, all we do is we can take our handy dandy calculator, which is right here, and we do 0.03 divided by 0.2. And what do we get? 0.15. So our answer now is 0.15. That is our answer. That gives us the probability that a student is absent, given that today is Friday. Now, this is one way you might see conditional probability, but let's look at another way. This is a straightforward question. So another way you might see conditional probability is in a, come on, computer. It's in a chart. So, what do we have here? The chart shows the population of Langston Hughes athletes. So if you look here, if you read the question really carefully, what is the probability that a randomly chosen soccer player is also a sophomore? So what are we looking at taking the probability of? Taking the probability of how many events? A soccer player and a sophomore, right? These two events are together. Whenever we do two events together, what do we use? Conditional probability. So the formula is P of A and B over P of A, right? And now I'm going to switch back. No, let's keep this color the same. So, first of all, I want to look for the probability of a soccer player. What's the probability of a soccer player? So that's my first, the probability of a soccer player. What event is this? Is this my first event or is this my second event? This would be my first event because it comes first. So I'm going to label this with my A, and sophomore is going to be my, which event? My second event. I'm going to label this with my B. So probability of a soccer player and the sophomore. So the first thing we need to do is figure out what's the probability of these two events happening at the same time. So we go to soccer player, right? We go to soccer player and we look and see where he's a sophomore. He's going to be a sophomore, not here because it's a freshman. He's going to be a sophomore right here, which would be, so these two events together, sophomore and a soccer player, is going to be 5. So we're going to go, so the probability of both events together, probability of a soccer player, which is A, right? And the probability of a sophomore is going to be 5. Now we're going to look for just the probability of A, probability of just a soccer player, right? Just a soccer player, we add this, so just a soccer player, we add this straight down because he can be either a freshman or a sophomore. So 13 plus 5 will give me 18. So the probability of finding a sophomore, a soccer player who is a sophomore, use our handy calculator again, and we will get, was it 5 divided by 18 will give me 0.227, and we round up to 0.28 because of this number right here. Because the 7 is greater than 5, we round this up to 0.28. So we're going to round this answer to 0.28. So the probability of me finding a soccer player that's also a sophomore is going to be 0.28, or if you want to be more precise with it, it'll be relatively equal to 28%. Alright? So that's how we find conditional probability using a chart, and before we find conditional probability given a sentence. So we look for the probability of both these events together, which is soccer and sophomore, and we receive soccer and sophomore is 5. And the probability of just that A event, just a soccer player, how many soccer players do we have? In this situation we have sophomores and we have freshmen. So we add this straight down, that gives me 13 plus 5 gives me 18. So 5 over 18, and that's going to be 0.28, which is equivalent to 28%. Alright? That's what we got. Hope this helps. If you have any more questions, please come and ask me in the tutorial. And I hope you have a nice day.